mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about episodes 1 and 2 in a non-spoilery fashion of the Showtime series Let the Right One In. Now, I'm not sure how Showtime is handling this exactly, but episode 2 is available right now on Paramount Plus. But it looks like you can't, if you don't have Paramount Plus and you want to watch it on Showtime, it looks like you have to wait till Sunday for episode 2. I think that's how they're doing it, like Friday on Paramount Plus, Sunday if you want to watch it on Showtime. But episode 2 came out today, and so I figured now would be a good time, because I watched episode 1 last night, that now would be a good time for me to put out a video just talking about this, because I had some interest in it. The reason I had some interest in it is I've seen the 2008 Swedish film that is based on, with the same name, Let the Right One In. Now, by no means am I about to be that guy. I hate that guy who can't wait to tell you that they've read the book or seen the movie that something else is based on. Like, I know. I am not going to be that guy. But I'm talking about a show that shares a name and is based upon a film that I've seen, so I'm obligated to kind of talk about that a little bit as well. But I'm mainly going to focus on talking about what this show is, and not sitting here like, trying to show off that I've seen a 2008 Swedish film. It's not that impressive. Like, I went to college for film. I've seen a lot of shit. It's not that impressive. I'm not trying to flex that I've seen this shit. I just have. And that's what caused me to watch this show. I saw that film. I loved that film. And I thought, oh, wow, they're doing a show about this? Let me check it out. Unfortunately, and I'm not about to shit on this show right now. I don't really plan on shitting on it at all. But unfortunately, this show is similar to the film in name only. The 2008 film is, I'd say it's almost more of a romance story about these two kids who develop this relationship. And also, let me just throw in that I haven't seen it since 2008, so I don't remember a ton about this movie. I just remember that this was a movie that was primarily about the relationship and bond that forms between this little boy and this little girl, one of whom just happens to be a vampire. But it was beautiful in that sense. I remember it being very almost kind of like minimalist in appearance. You see a lot of like big lots of land outside of their apartment covered in snow, like you see in the show. Very whites, very dark blacks, lots of contrast. It always felt quiet, because everything has to happen at night, because the little girl can't be walking around during the daytime. So a lot of her interactions with this boy take place at night. So you get the darkness of night with the white of snowfall. If you're somebody who doesn't live in an area that snows, snow reflects whatever fucking light you can think of, man. You go out in pitch blackness, if there's snow all over the ground, you will be able to see pretty clearly. Like, is it gonna be bright? No, but you'll be able to see. But that's what I remember about the film. This show is, it takes that aspect of the film, the relationship that develops between the boy and the girl. It has that, and it may develop it into something that's very special. I don't know. We're only 2 episodes in, but that is a very small portion of what this show is. It doesn't even feel like it's the main portion, like it's the focus. It just feels like it is a portion. It's not. I'm gonna take that back. It's definitely not the focus. They haven't even, the two kids haven't even really hung out yet. Like, they met, and that's really kind of it. But like, they haven't really developed I don't want to say a serious relationship because they're kids, but like, that plot line hasn't moved very much, whereas they're focusing a lot on the other stuff. But this show is, like I said, only similar in name really to the movie. And if that's, if you I talk about I watch shit so you don't have to. If you are curious about this show because you love that movie and you need this show to be similar to that movie, you better look somewhere else. This is not that fucking movie. Now, by no means is that my way of shitting on the show. I'm not. But I'm just saying that if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it here. This is more of your standard vampire television series. You know, obviously, I think when we all think of a vampire television series, we all first think of True Blood. I watched True Blood. It was one of the first shows that I watched when I got into prestige television, like around that time. I want to say that 2008 to 2010 range, somewhere in there. And I would say this show is less similar to True Blood and a little bit more in line with like The Strain. Like if you saw The Strain, it was on FX. It was a dark, brutal, gory vampire show. This isn't that. It's not quite The Strain. It's just closer to The Strain than it is to True Blood, because I think True Blood kept a lot of that. True Blood was more about the people of Bontemps and like how they got along, knowing that there were vampires around there, and a vampire develops a relationship with someone else who's not a vampire, or like it's about like these relationship dynamics, despite the fact that there are vampires there, which again is very similar to the idea of the Let the Right One In movie. Primary focus on relationship, and the kind of like twist, the conceit is that one of them is a vampire. And that's kind of how True Blood was. True Blood became something different as it moved on, but that's kind of what True Blood was. The Strain is just kind of like an action show with vampires. This is closer to The Strain than it is to True Blood. So I want to talk about what this show is. So that way, if you are someone who's like, I ain't even seen that fucking movie, so I don't care that it's not similar to the movie. If you want to know what this show is, well, let's spend the rest of this time talking about that. So it's created by a guy named Andrew. I'm guessing this is pronounced Hinderaker. He also created a show called Away on Netflix, which I never saw. It was a 2020 series. It starred Hilary Swank. I remember when it went up on Netflix, but I just never watched it. So I don't know if it was any good or not. And he was a staff writer on Penny Dreadful, which is another Showtime. See, it was another Showtime series. I saw, I think, most of the first season of Penny Dreadful. I think there was maybe like one or two more. I don't recall. But yeah, that's what this guy's done. And like I said, it's a vampire show, more in line, I think, with The Strain than True Blood. There's several plot lines that are kind of like running concurrently that are bound to intersect. So I'm going to talk about what these different plot lines are without giving up any spoilers in case you want to watch it. And, I'll wrap up after that, honestly. I want to start by saying, though, this show has a great fucking cast. Like, there's no doubt about that. You have Anika Noni Rose. You have, I forget his name, man, but my man played John on The Leftovers. I think his name was John on The Leftovers. He's been in a bunch of shit. He was in, was he in Watchmen? Fuck, he might have been. I can't remember, but he's been in a bunch of great shit. And I feel shitty for not knowing his name because I've liked him in pretty much everything I've seen him in. You've got Grace Gummer, who is Meryl Streep's daughter. She's on this. She was great in Mr. Robot. She's serviceable so far. Like again, we're still too early for me to say she's great on this, but she was great on Mr. Robot. And then I think the little girl who plays Ellie, and Ellie is the character that is in line with the movie, the one who's a vampire. Like I said, there's a little boy and a little girl that develop a friendship or some sort of relationship in the movie. The little boy is not a vampire, and the girl is. The little boy is he's like a weirdo, kind of a shut-in, kind of introverted, and doesn't really have any friends, and that's why he ends up developing this friendship with this girl who's a vampire. And in this, the little girl, her name's Ellie, and I don't know this actress, but she's adorable. And Grant, I have 3 daughters now, so I'm gonna have kind of a soft spot for cute little girls. That little girl is adorable, and I also think she's doing a really great job. So that's entertaining as well. So I'm gonna start with that. Like I said, the 2 kid characters, Ellie, and the boy's name is Isaiah. It's a black kid, which is I'm sure you could probably guess is different from the Swedish version of this. But he again is, I think, a little bit more modernized version of weird. Yeah, he's just different, really. And you know how kids like to pick on people who are different. There's a 2022 level of bullying that takes place on this kid, and Ellie and her father Mark end up moving in next door to this kid and his mom. His mom is Anika Noni Rose. Her name's Naomi. At the in the first episode, and they don't. They have an interaction in episode 1, but that's kind of it. It's actually mirrors a scene that takes place in the movie, and it takes place outside of their apartment building. And then in the second episode, Isaiah has a talent show that he invites her to. Next, like I said, they moved in next door to Isaiah's family. The mom, Naomi, is Anika Noni Rose. Their father is kind of like a deadbeat dad who I glean has a alcohol problem of some sort or just some sort of substance abuse issue. Probably drugs as well. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was drugs as well. And the mother, Naomi, is also a cop. Anika Noni Rose plays this character, I think, a little bit similar, a little bit kind of like sassy, but serious and professional. It's very similar to the characters she played on Maid, which starred another character from The Leftovers. Her name is escaping me right now, but she was one of my picks for someone who I think should have got an Emmy nomination for her work in Maid. And Anika Noni Rose, now she's with another Leftovers character, doing a show with another Leftovers character. But she's a cop, and she's investigating some gruesome murders. And these gruesome murders, she's at a point where she's still trying to piece together who might be doing these murders. And they're gruesome and and done by hand. So she's starting to get an idea that this might be some kind of like extra level supernatural type shit. And these people who are doing these killings are doing them because they're influenced by like some sort of synthetic drug that creates the effect of being a vampire in non-vampires. So that I feel like too many shows have done that. I feel like True Blood did that at some point, where you could take something and it would give you vampire powers or whatever, or turn you into a vampire rather than being bitten in the traditional sense. I feel like they did that in later seasons. I don't really remember. They're doing something similar with that on The Boys right now, but they're doing it with superheroes instead of vampirism. Like you can inject yourself with something and become a superhero temporarily. So that feels like, okay, that's a little bit overdone, but whatever. I'll allow it because I like how it intersects with Mark and Ellie's story. Mark is Ellie's father. Ellie's the little girl who's the vampire. It intersects with that story because they've developed this kind of like backstory where Mark and Ellie are under the impression that if they find the vampire who turned Ellie, that they can find a cure to help her. So Mark is obsessed with hunting this vampire who supposedly did this. And they move from city to city kind of chasing this person when they hear about these gruesome murders. Come to find out, this is a sick fucking country, so people just do sick fucking shit without being vampires. But he hasn't been able to find this vampire that they believe turned Ellie. Well, they don't know who it is, but they haven't been able to find this vampire. We, the audience, know who this is and why he hasn't been able to find the person, but I think we're still a ways from making that discovery on the show. But Mark is tracking this person down, and now he's at the point of discovering this drug that can give people these temporary vampire powers. So like his story and Naomi's story are going to cross paths in a way that's different from how their children's paths are crossing. And I find that to be fairly interesting as well. Mark also has a dead wife, and which would also obviously be Ellie's mother. Apparently, the mother used to date Zeke, who is the character that I alluded to from Leftovers. He's a friend of Mark's. They used to be cool. It seems that Mark stole his girl and married her, and then she died. I'm gonna leave it at that. And then she died, and they have unresolved issues. But now Mark is back in town. Zeke owns a restaurant. He gives Mark a job there. Mark used to be a chef. And that's all just kind of giving you some ideas to like who these people are. And then, like I said, Grace Gummer, Meryl Streep's daughter, is on here. Her brother is seen in the very opening scene of episode 1. It's a vampire who is told that, hey, I guess, well, we don't really hear all of it, but presumably his father thinks that he's created a cure to vampirism, and he's like, yeah, just go out there in the sun, it's gonna be fine. He goes out there in the sun, it starts off fine, it obviously goes left, and that's where we leave that scene until a little while later. Turns out that vampire at the beginning is the brother of Grace Gummer's character, and she ends up getting involved in this vampire shit as well. I kind of leave it. If I go too much farther into that, I'm getting a little bit spoilery. So those are the kind of like running storylines and plot threads that are happening here. But as you can see, very little time and attention has been given so far to the relationship between Ellie and Isaiah, whereas that was the main focus of the movie. So again, nothing like the movie. You get the fact that that relationship is present. It still, remains to be seen whether or not it's going to be developed in a way that's going to make it do the movie justice. But right now, that's the only way it's similar. This is really just your standard run-of-the-mill vampire show. If you like vampire shows, this one's for you. I find, I don't see anything particularly bad about it. All of the actors are doing a good job. I find the characters to be compelling. I'm interested to see how these stories intersect. It's just not something that's like, you're not going to be hearing people putting this on their, best shows of the year list. You're not going to be hearing people saying like, that was just as good as the movie. The movie's pretty universally loved. Like, no one's going to say that this is on par with the movie, but that doesn't make it a shitty TV show. It just means it's not that movie. They just took that movie's name and used it to get eyeballs on this show. But like I said, if you're somebody who needs this show to be that movie and to live up to that name, don't even fucking watch it. It ain't that. But if you want to watch a vampire show that's got really good makeup, really good gore, and it's well paced, the storylines are interesting. It feels kind of like your standard, like something you just might watch on cable every week. That it's like, I don't want to say background watch, but I've used this term a lot on this channel, the term popcorn TV, like something that you don't have to like really pay close attention to. You're not like digging into like themes and concepts and ideas and relationships and all of these things where you feel like you kind of got to look at the show through a microscope. You could sit back, smoke some weed, watch these fucking vampires do vampire shit, and you'll be fine and you'll enjoy yourself. So that's kind of my, I guess, non-spoilery review of this show. I guess the last thing is, do I plan on covering it for this channel week to week? I'm starting with and leaning toward no, but again, it kind of depends on the feedback for this video. If this video does a fuck ton of plays, you bet I'm gonna fucking do every fucking episode. But if it doesn't do a lot of plays where it feels like the juice isn't worth the squeeze, I'm not gonna bother. And there's been better shows that I haven't covered because of the time and energy it takes to film, edit, export, upload a video for it to get 50 fucking plays. Like, that's not worth it. So it's like, it's how's this video gonna do? If it does great, or if people comment on it like, yo, I want to hear you talk about every fucking episode, go as in-depth as you possibly fucking can. I love your analysis. I fuck with this show. I think you should do it. If enough people do that and this video gets a lot of plays, then I'll probably do it. But right now, I'm kind of sitting with, no, I'm not going to cover it, but that can change. Am I going to continue watching it? Probably. It's not something that's going to be like a high priority. The way I kind of structure my days, I save Friday night for all of the shit that I don't cover, but that I enjoy watching. This will become, especially because these episodes hit Paramount Plus on Friday, this will become a Friday show where, I mean, that is ultimately going to result in me watching it the day it comes out like it's my shit, but it's not going to be like really high on my priority list on Friday night. My Friday night priority list is like, okay, is there some MMA on? I might watch that. If not, I'm watching, Real Time with Bill Maher. I'm watching Andor. Actually, I watched Andor Wednesday. I'm watching Abbott Elementary. I'm watching She-Hulk. I'm watching Tales from the Loop. I got that to finish up tonight. So like, it's good. Like, I have like a Friday itinerary that this is so fucking lame. I have a Friday itinerary that I prepare earlier in the week for what I'm going to watch when I go out my garage and smoke weed and drink. Like, this is what I'm going to watch. So I have like a schedule. This will be on the schedule. It'll just be toward the bottom. Like, this will be like, if I'm still up at 1 o'clock and I'm like not too tired, and I'm like, look at my watch. I'm like, I've watched all the other shit already. I'll turn this on. If not, I'll probably save it for Monday. But that's kind of my approach to it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you think this is something that you love, if you think it's something that I should cover week to week. If you really want me to cover it week to week, share it to your social media, because it's gonna rely more on the plays on the video than it does on how much you guys are calling for it. Unless there is like a shit ton of comments that are like calling for me to cover it. And when I say a shit ton, for me, that's not a lot. Like 10 people. Like if 10 people are like, yo, cover this, I'll probably do it. But we'll see. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.